We're here to fix the machine.
Battlefield Live.
You're listening to the Battlefield Live with Chris and Trey from Lanterns Radio Network, WSHO 800 AM. I want to thank you for joining us on the battlefield today. And so, Trey, man, how's it been, dude? It's been quite a while since I've seen you. Maybe a few minutes ago.
Right, like a week or something, right?
Yeah. So, got a ton of stuff to talk about as usual today. And I actually received a message on Facebook from our good friend Mary Cass over the Greater New Orleans Tea Party. And let's see if I can find the article she sent. It was about Hillary Clinton and how she is using these Alinsky-style tactics. And I think would be interesting to discuss along with this is what's going on with the Trump campaign and all the protesting. Have you been keeping an eye on that?
I haven't been keeping up with that. I've been trying to see the similarity between Trump and Harambe. There's some startling similarities that maybe we can get into later.
So, okay, between Harambe the gorilla, the one that was shot viciously,
gunned down,
murdered,
inner city of Ohio in Cleveland, Cincinnati.
So it seems to me that people have suddenly misunderstood or the progressivism has moved such a long way that the definition of murder has now changed.
Changed?
Yeah.
No, when somebody, a fellow citizen of Cincinnati, a Cincinnatian, right, is gunned down with no motive, for just no reason, by any stretch of the imagination, that is murder.
That's right. Well, I mean, if you look at gorillas, if you believe in evolution, eventually turned into human beings anyway. So you're actually killing a future human being.
That's correct.
When you say so, it kind of maybe would be parallel to say maybe an unborn child.
Or not only that, but now for 14 million years into the future,
right?
Harambe will have no human descendants.
Really?
Oh, I mean, I'm just saying.
There'll be no more gorillas anyway?
Well, I don't know if there's going to be any more gorillas. Not if they keep gunning them down in cold blood.
These zoos are so evil.
Listen, if that had been like an albino gorilla, like it had just been in court on Monday.
Right.
They wouldn't have shot it. Right?
Right.
I mean, he was 17 years old. He was unarmed. And he was black.
While he was with a black child.
Well, and not his own.
That's right.
Which was just a dead giveaway, right?
Right.
I mean, well, we won't go into the paternal aspects of the gorilla community.
So we'll discuss the similarities between Harambe and Donald Trump. And speaking of Donald Trump, have you been kind of keeping an eye or an ear out for this whole stuff with the Trump University stuff?
Not the Trump University, but I was going back to what you had originally asked me. Boy, I love what's happening at Trump rallies.
That's so bad,
dude. It is better than the WWE.
Yeah, but isn't this emblematic of the?
I don't even know what that means.
Emblematic, like it represents the place that we are now, as far as the culture wars between classes.
I don't know. I don't know. Here's what I know: you got a bunch of brown people punching other brown people. Okay,
light brown and dark brown.
No. I posted some. There'll be some. If you go to Lanterns Buzz at Lanterns Buzz on Twitter, you'll see some pictures I posted.
Okay,
this is like pro-Trump Hispanics and a bunch of anti-Trump Hispanics, and it's just a battle of Hispanic supremacy. Who will survive?
So, are you saying that evolution is playing out?
I'm just saying that, like, if all of the communists and like the socialists, right? Like not just the millennials that support Bernie Sanders.
So the fascists and the communists will get together and they'll just eliminate themselves.
Man, let's let the unions get together. What didn't you tell me something about the Rage Against the Machine guy?
Yeah, so
what's going on with that?
The band Rage Against the Machine. If y'all not familiar with Rage Against the Machine, am I an X-Gen person? I can't even keep up with all the generations.
I think we're both Generation X.
Yeah, so back in the early 90s, there was a band that came out called Rage Against the Machine. The lead singer, full-blown communist. His dad was a communist. The guitar player for the band was a communist. Actually, there are some songs that I like of theirs, but if you listen to them, you can understand that fighting the machine is actually capitalism, evil capitalism, right? So recently the band has kind of transformed into this new group. I'm trying to think of the name of the group. I don't even think it really cares, quite honestly. But they reformed with another group called Public Enemy, if y'all not familiar with another band of the 80s. So basically you have like the angry white kids that join the angry black kids.
Right.
And they joined in a group that's like a hybrid communist group, and they have
nobody knows, by the way, who Public Enemy is. But when I say the name Flava Flav
with all the gold teeths and
everybody
knows the big clock around his. He used to wear a clock around his.
Which, by the
neck.
way, he did pretty good on The Apprentice, and so maybe who knows? Maybe Donald's going to pick Flava Flav.
So you think
as
this
his
is
running
maybe
mate.
that's why Flava Flav is not decided to get back together with Public Enemy? And
well, the most recent conspiracy theory floating around, right?
What's that?
All of the seasons of The Apprentice, and the Celebrity Apprentice especially, secretly were tryouts to see who was going to be his running mate if he was to get the nomination.
You think Flava Flav gets it?
He didn't. It could be Flava Flav, but it could be Little John.
Little John. I can see that.
He could bring the hype to every rally.
Hell yeah, he's got some cool glasses.
Right? He could be behind the scenes being like, people said, Mr. Vice President, do you think that Iran was justified in annihilating Israel? And he could be like, what? And he said, do you think he was justified in annihilating Israel? What? Right? And
Yeah.
he'd be like, Mr. Vice President, you do know that Iran just nuked Israel. Okay! Right? It'd be perfect.
And nobody knows what the hell you're talking about.
Everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, everybody knows Little John.
Right?
Listen to
You could have,
800
or Gary Busey. Gary
that'd be fun.
Busey as a Trump Busey ticket.
Is this Idiocracy played out? Have you seen the movie Idiocracy?
I haven't, no.
Oh, dude, you have to see that. They have like a wrestler that becomes president, and he's
Is it like a wrestler becoming
shooting
governor?
machine guns in the House of Representatives. I mean,
Wasn't it kind of a goof on Jesse Ventura?
I don't know if I don't remember who it was a goof on, but if you watch it, it's like we're starting to see the fruits of that. Of this guy was a brilliant writer. He's the Orwell of our time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But no. So, but have you been keeping up with this Trump University thing?
Well, I mean, I know that the New York Attorney General decided to go ahead and push through the case. I think a judge, was it a state appeals court judge or whatever, went on ahead and said it was clear to go to trial. Looks like it'll do so right around the time of the convention, right?
Yeah. So my big question is this: there's so much outrage right now about Trump University, and even from the Never Trump people, right? So my question is this. And you Trump people that are, dripping with red meat, over the whole Trump thing, you may like this, right? Why the hell is there's such an outrage for Trump University, but we don't hear about the absolute scam that's going on in our public schools or our universities?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it all of a sudden this huge outrage? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know if there's. I mean, of course, there's the typical answer.
I mean, I have a choice. I had a choice to go to the Trump University. I don't have a choice of where my son goes to school unless I have a lot of money, or if I decide to stay home and teach him myself.
Yes, but even though as a consumer you still have the choice, you still have also the right to not be defrauded.
Do you have the right not to pay for public school?
Sure. You can not own a home.
So you could choose not to pay the taxes in some way or another for public schooling.
Yeah, just rent. Now, some would argue, and you and I would make the logical economic argument that the landlord would then just simply pass on his property tax bill to you, the tenant, and so you'd be paying it indirectly anyway.
Right. How about corporate taxes?
Corporate taxes. I guess they pass it on to us in the
Corporations
product,
do not
right?
pay corporate taxes.
Especially if they get special deals.
Yeah, but even if they don't get special deals, they do not pay a single dime. There's not a corporation in this country that pays a single dime in corporate taxes.
Of the corporate tax?
None. Zero.
So then why are we always talking about the corporate tax rate then?
Because we pay for it.
We as the consumers.
As consumers.
Right, so they just pass on the cost.
That's right. It's an overhead, and everything that we purchase has a markup in there to cover overhead, and then there's a little markup for a little bit of profit.
Right.
Right? So the bottom line
So it's a cost driver.
That's right. So the point is that you get rid of corporate tax, you basically get rid of another tax that we're paying.
So all the idiots who are out there talking about corporations need to pay their fair share or
Dummies.
Want to raise the rate, they don't even realize they're raining tax hell down on their own heads.
You realize what I'm about to do?
What are you about to do?
Bring about the S word.
No, we're not on the internet.
No, not that S word.
Oh.
The segue.
Oh.
You have segued beautifully into the useful idiot conversation that we need to discuss.
Oh, nice.
So I received this email.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it was a message on Facebook from our friend Mary Cass over the GNOTP. You can visit them on Facebook, Greater New Orleans Tea Party. Take a look. Like the page. And basically, this is an article that was submitted by Garrett Gear. And I want to save the article for after the first break, and I kind of want to set this up. Because you and I, Trey, have talked about this type of stuff for a very long time. In fact, you and I wrote a book about the progression of secular socialism in the country. What this actual article does is actually very interesting because it categorizes the different pieces of the puzzle, if you will, in order to achieve what we've been saying all along is coming.
Right.
Right? So if you all don't know, the book that Trey and I wrote basically explains how since the early 20th century, progressives with the influence from Frankfurt Marxists as well as Fabian socialists have been working within our culture to slowly but surely progress us towards a socialist status government, if you will.
Right.
Okay. So in other words, that the government is going to provide rights rather than protect our rights.
With everything that has happened over our political discourse in the last probably 12 to 24, some might even say the last 8 years, the thing that we cannot take our eye off of as voters, as Americans, especially as conservatives, libertarians, anybody with liberty in their mind, is the goal of the left. The left goal is to grow the state.
Right.
And the dependency upon the state is the fastest, quickest, most guaranteed way to get a growth of state. And by growth of state, sucking up as much and consolidating as much power into the government and from the American people as you can.
Right. So the agenda that socialists used to try to pursue was a violent agenda. In other words, you go into your society with a small group of people and you disrupt the society so much and then you violently take over the country.
Bloody revolution.
That's right. So like we did see in Russia. Well, the progressive agenda has been to gradually do that. So in other words, they are going to make you slaves to the government progressively.
So instead of bloody revolution, slow evolution.
That's right. Evolution. Right. It's a key term.
Just drop the R.
That's right. So
By the way, 504-527-0800 is the number as usual if you want to be a part of the program.
So let's do this. Let's go ahead and bring Philip on. Philip, you there? Philip.
Hey, how you doing? This is Phil the Pigeon. How you doing today?
Fantastic, Philip. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm great with best. Well, listen up. I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
Are you at the downtown studios of WSHO right now?
Some would even call it Palacious.
Yes, and we're
armed.
Well,
listen, you happen to have a boat? Because you might need a boat to get home. Right now, there's a big, huge storm approaching the Greater New Orleans area.
Uh-oh.
And this thing, I was here for Katrina. I left at the last minute. And this thing is just as big as Katrina, and it's moving slower. I'm not saying that it's stronger, but I can tell you what, I expect catastrophic and near catastrophic raining in this area in the next 48 hours for sure. And it might be 36 out of that 48 that's going to be very, 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 very heavy. And I just want y'all to be prepared for it. As a matter of fact, I prepared a little song for y'all. Now listen up. Happy chemtrails to you until we meet again. Happy chemtrails to you. Fire on today. Don't worry about it together. It's as long as you face the flash floods, tornadoes, and storms together. So happy chemtrails to you. Do we need in the flood again?
Yeah! Dude, we're so talented that we can put the weather and the traffic all in one call.
And include the fact that they are poisoning us with fluoride in the water.
That is exactly right. Acid rain and fluoride, folks. That is the result right there.
So was all of that kind of more analogous and hyperbole? I haven't checked the weather today. Is there a hurricane coming?
Yeah, look outside. You see it?
No, I don't.
And if you look far enough, you can actually see Baton Rouge from here.
So we may be testing that out live on the show one day.
So now that we've been subverted.
Subverted?
Subverted.
Or converted. Are you a convert now?
I am now a convert.
We are both convertible.
Convertible? If we keep letting refugees in here, we might be convertibles.
Yes. So I guess we just continue on what we were doing before Phil called, right?
I guess. I mean, it's just...
Okay, so let's reset this.
I want to make sure we don't have to evacuate.
So let's reset this. So when we come back from the break, we want to share with you this article. 43 years ago, Saul Alinsky died.
Shame.
What a wonderful day.
Right.
Actually, he died in 1972. Okay.
Don't try to do math when we're on the air.
And there are, in his book, he said that there were 8 levels of control that you have to more or less obtain before you're able to create that perfect social state.
Right.
Okay. And so we're going to hit on those 8. And if you want to chime in about any one of those 8, you're more than welcome to call in. Give us a testimony about how you've been affected by any of these or what you see in these different areas. And we'll take that. So,
or if you see any water spouts on the interstate.
Yeah, definitely weather coming from since we both have to head west after here. Anything coming out of the west, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
That way we can avoid it. So I think we have also Pastor Ed coming up at the break, so stick around for that. And more of Chris and Trey when we come back. 504-527-0800. This is the Battlefield Live with Chris and Trey on WSHO, Sunshine 100 AM. We'll be right back.
Saints of New Orleans, it's time to go marching in. And it's time to go marching in with Pastor Ed with today's Sunspot.
Hey there, how are you?
I'm all right, Pastor Ed. How you doing?
That's good. Listen, I just want to talk about Bill Gates to him, but, one day at a time. I was looking about putting together a devotional book, and there is no tomorrow. When you go to bed and you say, well, tomorrow I'm going to do this, the minute you wake up, it's today. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. There is no tomorrow. So let's live to this day and know that it's our privilege to live under the grace and love and mercy of God, to be a forgiving people and a loving people. And you have nothing to worry about tomorrow because it's not coming. How about that?
Very good, Pastor Ed. All right.
How have you been, all right? You doing okay?
Oh, no, I'm not doing all right, but I'll make it. No, I'm doing okay.
There you go. Okay, my pal, I'll be talking to you during the week, okay?
All right, Pastor Ed. Good talking to you.
God bless you.
Bye.
St. Gregory of Nyssa said,
"Just as at sea, those who are carried away from the direction of the harbor bring themselves back on course by a clear sign, so Scripture may guide those adrift on the sea of life back into the harbor of the divine will." We are Sunshine 800 WSHO.
Well, thank you for sticking with us on the battlefield. You're listening to Chris and Trey from the Lanterns Radio Network and the Battlefield Live radio show. want to thank you for listening to WSHO 800. Trey, what's the call number?
504-527-0800.
So you can find us, if you're enjoying the show, you can find us on Twitter at Lanterns Buzz. Trey and I are very active on social media. If you want to tweet us, you can tweet us there at Lanterns Buzz, or you can tweet me, treat me good.
That's right.
You can treat me good, but you can tweet me as well. Or treat me bad if you wish.
24/7, you can get a hold to us. As long as you tweet at us, we will tweet back at you.
That is correct. And you can tweet me at Paul Revere again. And you can tweet Trey at TRob Radio. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Lanterns Buzz. We also do a show 5 days a week. This happens to be one of them. But you can find our show archives, including this show, at Spreaker.com. Just do a hashtag search for Lanterns Buzz. You can also find our show archives on both of our websites, including lanterns.buzz, or more specifically, the Battlefield Live show page, which is battlefield.buzz, the website battlefield.buzz. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes. You can go to iTunes, do a keyword search for Lanterns Buzz, and you can subscribe to our show there, or at SoundCloud, Player.fm, Google Play, Stitcher. You can also find us on Google+. You can find us everywhere. Just do a keyword search, Lanterns Buzz. Also want to mention, if you're looking for any web development help or a website or an application to streamline your business, a program built specifically for you, give Vast Virtual a call, 504-382-2474. And you can go to their website at vastvirtual.com, and you can contact them through the website. Also, if you're looking for social media help or branding assistance, you can go to goday.media, the website goday.media. Reach out to Rob and Melissa, and they are the one-stop shop for all of your social media needs. If you need help with Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, any of the social media platforms out there, they will help you with that and make you look good doing it.
I think they also resurface Etch-a-Sketches.
Resurface Etch-a-Sketches.
If you've ever had an Etch-a-Sketch for a while, it's to a point to where no matter how many times you shake it, it just doesn't clear the picture.
That's right. We ought to do that for show prep. You hear those people laughing?
I'm telling you.
A lot of people listening today. Look, also...
And I'm monitoring the chat room, so go to WSHO.com, click the Watch and Listen Live button, and you'll be ushered into the chat room, which is actually a behind-the-scenes camera. You can actually log in and see Chris and I, and we'll wave to you on the camera, and you can comment about just how fabulous a face we have for radio.
I'm a good-looking one.
That's correct.
Also, check out dh-promotions.com. Our friend... Marshall is actually, he just called me today and told me my hats are in and my shirts are done. He said, you coming up next, bro. They just got to go.
I may be coming up next, but I had to come down first.
That's right. Yeah, that's true, because you're making a physical adjustment.
That's correct.
That's right. So the shirts that you may fit in now, you may not fit in later.
So if there are any Christians out there listening, pray for me.
Hey, we can get 2 for 1, because if you lose as much weight, we both could fit into one shirt.
That's right. I'm going to get down to your size in a few.
All right. So
remember when I was smaller than you?
No.
Yeah, you were like 240. I was like 215.
Were you 215?
Oh, yeah.
And I was 240?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you're like 7 feet tall, so it's all visual.
It's just the way it's perception.
Yeah, and I carry the weight better. Just saying.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay, so let's get into this topic, because I thought this was a very interesting thing to get into now, especially with Hillary running for president. And remember, Benghazi has a silent H with an arrow through it. Oh, I see what you're doing there. Man, you're so smart. So check this out. So Mary Cass from Greater New Orleans Tea Party sent us this. And so basically what it is Alinsky. If you're not familiar with Alinsky, just think of maybe Vladimir Lenin of America.
Correct.
Is that the best way to look at it?
Yeah.
Kind of like American communist?
Like mobster corruption meets Satanist priest with just a little dash of Tabasco,
right,
and just a little side of like
dude, you're killing the diet.
I know, right?
I'm getting hungry now. I'm thinking about Tabasco.
I'm thinking about Tabasco.
Okay, so
I lost myself at Tabasco. I'm thinking, what can I?
Yeah, I don't even know what we're
Tabasco
talking about anymore. I'm just saying,
man. If we ever get a food sponsor, it's over.
It's over. We're going to talk about the sponsor's food all day.
They'd be like, I had this meal.
He's like, you're gonna have to roll Chris and Trey out of the studio. Get the hand cart. We got to get us out of here.
So you know how like Phil always calls in, and Phil always like points out everything going to heck in a handbag,
right,
in America,
right.
Well, like Saul Alinsky said, like that all needed to happen, but you needed to do it purposely.
Right. In other words, it was a revolution of the system, but we had to do it with everybody buying into the revolution.
Correct. And if you think about it, like conservatives never kind of like segregate themselves on issues.
Right.
They're just conservatives.
Right.
And they believe like in the Constitution.
Right.
Right. So, but you look at the left and you have environmental leftists.
Right.
Right. And then you have what's some other key issues? You have the race hustling leftists,
the gay activists,
the social justice warriors.
Right.
You've got the LGBT, AAIP, KG&Y, right, people.
Yeah, the gun control advocates.
Right, the anti-gun, the anti-war, the pro-abortion people, right?
Right, the union people, education unions and things like that.
And so what they catch the right up in is they catch them in like all these multi-front wars.
Right.
And the right just feels surrounded, but they're not even working with themselves. They just all have the common enemy, which is the right.
Right. And we and a lot of conservatives, and I would say conservatives that maybe are not like your how should I say this?
Plugged in?
Well, they're not plugged in like you and I are. I mean, we read this stuff like
educated?
You know, yeah. Well, I don't know if educated is probably a little bit of a stretch. I know a lot of conservatives that don't know who the hell Saul Alinsky is and very educated. They're just not educated on like dialectic process and, you know, Hegelian dialectics. And,
which is why ignorant is the perfect word.
That is a good word.
Stick to it straight, because that can be changed. You can change ignorant. If you're out there listening to us and you know that you're ignorant, which is a good thing,
right?
You can change that.
That's correct.
You can't change stupid.
Yeah, and I'm ignorant about a lot of things. I just have to be very, very tuned in and intelligent on political issues.
That's correct.
Right.
So these 8 issues need to be thrust into absolute control and chaos.
Right. So if you are a person that does not like the United States in the way that it was, and even back when Saul Alinsky was around in the 60s, which a lot of this has progressed, right?
Like if you think you need to go over to Japan and hug out with a few Japs.
Yeah.
Right?
Like if you're that kind of person and you want to destroy the American way of life and bring us into servitude of the federal government, you would go through a process, right, in order to get there.
So number 1.
Let's go with number 1.
You need to control health care.
That's right. And why do we have to need – I'll ask you that question,
Well, I'm
Trey.
going to ask you.
You going to ask me?
I'm going to ask you.
Let's thumb it out. Thumb wrestle. All right.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, man, you got it. So does that mean I have to answer?
You have to answer.
Okay. That's because you can control people.
I just controlled you in a thumb wrestling match.
You killed, dude. You got a grip.
I'm telling you,
ladies and gentlemen, you should have. If you were not watching on the camera just now, Chris is like the Hulk Hogan of thumb wrestling.
That's right,
dude. I felt like just like Superfly Jimmy Snuka over here. Real good show, but at the end you're getting pinned.
My wife makes me give her back massages every night.
Gotcha. Those are working hands you have, by the way.
That is right. That's right.
There's like no moisturizer at all on those hands. Okay, all right. So back to this. If you can control healthcare, you can control people.
That's right.
Every aspect of people.
That's including their health.
Yeah, especially their health, right?
That's right.
So the people who don't deserve healthcare are the people who haven't put anything into the system yet.
Right.
So you've got like the really young. They're not going to get the bulk of the health care.
Right.
And the really old, they've contributed their max.
Right.
But they're not contributing anymore.
Right.
So we got to get rid of the really young and the really old.
That's right.
And so there's a sweet spot where we're going to funnel most of the money, and that's in the people who are paying in the most. The workers.
Productive people.
And so they're going to get the health care.
So all you old people out there.
And all you sick people.
And all you sick people. And all you young people. Very young people. If you're not very productive, then you aren't going to be contributing in the collective. Is basically what socialists look at.
Yeah, now that they control our health care.
Yeah, because we're not going to give you money if you're going to die in 6 months.
Don't be surprised when you need a treatment and it costs too much and they deny it.
That's right, because that's what's coming. That's what they're doing in Venezuela. Right. Well, right now they can't find toilet paper.
Right now they're eating feces to stay alive.
That's right. Okay.
But poop pops are the things coming. We talked about that. That's what the National Health Service is.
Yeah, you put a little sugar on it, it might taste good.
Yeah, but maybe. Just eat sugar the day before. Number 2, poverty. You have to increase the poverty level as high as possible. So you have to put policy in place that actually makes people poor.
That's why bread lines are
good. So how do
good.
we do that?
Bread lines?
Are bread lines good?
Yeah, that's what Bernie Sanders
Bernie
said.
said that, but Bernie said a lot of crazy things.
Well, he's also in line with Saul Alinsky. He just not using the tactics. He just wants to go straight there.
Right. Now, remember, Hillary was mentored by Saul Alinsky.
That's right. She wrote her thesis in college about Saul Alinsky.
So what is a policy, Chris, that you would say that you could identify for our listeners just to give them a reference point?
Okay.
That is a policy that makes people poor.
How about a policy that forces you to buy something that you can't afford? Like, say, maybe...
America would never go for that.
No, you don't think?
America would stand up
wait a second.
with pitchforks if anybody ever said, we're going to make you buy a product with your money.
Are you saying that if the federal government came out and said, you are going to be forced to buy something whether you like it or not, and you're going to have to buy it from a private organization?
Those people would be voted out.
You think?
Overnight.
You don't think they'd be elected for a second term?
Never get a second term.
You don't think this person would go to Hiroshima and say that bombing Japan was a bad thing?
Probably wouldn't be considered cool either.
Yeah.
Maybe the worst human being ever. Americans would revolt. No.
Well, they kind of did.
We kind of did.
Yeah, and they turned into Trumpsters.
Do you realize, you ever think about, it took 18 months for Obamacare to go through with a Democrat majority-controlled House and Senate and no Republican way of stopping it?
Right.
That was just us, bro.
Yeah.
Just us going to town halls, us going to D.C. Making
Greater New Orleans Tea Party.
The power of poster boards.
Right.
It's amazing. Okay, so if poor people... Here's the thing.
We can name other things.
We could. But poor people are easier to control.
That's right. So if one way to keep people poor is to give them an incentive to get poor.
Or to de-incentivize them not being poor.
Well, it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, it is.
So, if you fertilize the garden,
right,
you're going to get not only grass, but you're going to get weeds.
Correct.
Right? So you have to pull the weeds. Well, if you don't pull the weeds, then you get a garden full of weeds. So if you continually give people the incentive to stay poor,
that's right,
they will stay poor.
But I think people have a hard time grasping the idea. No one feels like they would ever bite on the bait that we're calling incentivizing poverty. See what I'm saying? We understand what that means, but most people would look at, I think they would understand this issue better if we would frame it from the opposite end.
Well, if you make it to where people do not want to go get welfare,
correct,
right? The way that you would do that is not make it virtuous.
So you de-incentivize success.
This is the way I think that welfare should work.
Okay,
right. First of all, if you're going to get welfare, you should get a big, huge coupon that you have to carry in on your shoulder to where you're going to go use it.
Is it coupon or coupon?
Coupon depends on where you're from.
Okay.
I'm a little bit of a what do you say,
a cunning linguist?
That's right.
Okay.
So I think that if you go into the grocery store and you have one of these huge big coupons,
right,
that maybe, and people see that you're carrying this thing, that maybe you'd be like, man, I don't want people to see that I'm
like a big Price is Right check.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So because I think that the people that deserve to have dignity are people that are out there supporting themselves.
Well, let's simmer down here, pork chop, for a second, okay?
Okay. Dude, why you said pork chop?
That's all I'm thinking about.
Diets.
There are some people. I believe in safety nets.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you.
So I don't think everybody ought to be humiliated if they're down on their luck. I think that would make you an evil.
Well, I did not say humiliate.
Well, it'd be humiliating to walk around with a Bob Barker check.
I can't control their
to buy
feelings.
Some milk.
I can't control the feelings.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just saying.
But you should, as a human being.
But if you
should care.
But if you knew that you had to go cut grass, or you had to go work at the grocery store at the corner and bag groceries or whatever just to make ends meet, you'd probably do that before going to this place to get free food.
No, you're sounding very Ben Franklin-ish about this whole poverty thing.
Ben Franklin? Who's that?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We probably don't want to confuse
I went to public school, dude.
Hey, quick segue.
I like that.
But we'll double back around. The bill you brought up.
Yes.
Oh, and I believe it was last week's show.
Bill Clinton?
No. The one where black kids were
Bill Nye, the science guy?
No, he's not black.
He's not Bill Nye?
Bill Nye? Oh, no.
Oh.
That dude's as white and milquetoast nerdy as... Oh, yeah, dude. To force black kids to quote the 56 words of the Declaration of Independence.
I love it.
It passed the House.
I love it.
So I don't know if it'll die in the Senate because we'll just see how that goes. But that was good news.
That's right.
So back around to this. Ben Franklin said that you make people uncomfortable in their poverty, and that's the best poverty program.
That's right.
So,
and I might have been a little bit, would I say, hyperbolic to make it to where they carry the coupon in their shoulder. But that was basically
I just
the point
wanted to
trying
give
to make.
you that opportunity to clarify that for our listening audience.
That's right. Okay.
Number 3, debt. Right? So what you have to do is with debt is make it to an unsustainable level.
Like $17 trillion?
I'm thinking more like 19.
Wait, hold up.
I'm thinking more like 19.
Hold up. It's now 18 trillion.
Right. Right. But that's not unsustainable yet.
18.5 trillion now.
When will we know if it's unsustainable?
It is already unsustainable. Do you realize
we're sustaining it.
Do you realize that our unfunded liabilities, I'm talking about as they accrue, are over $220 trillion?
I know, but that's once we get some like 3-4% growth in the economy and Trump brings all the jobs back to America and all the companies, he forces them to come back, and anybody who even has an idea about shipping their jobs to another, he's going to penalize them.
He ain't going to let that happen.
Look, there's a reason Trump's building a wall, and everybody, he is smarter than everybody else because Harambe let him know the real truth, right? Trump Harambe 2016, okay? First of all, the wall was not to keep people out. The wall was to keep people in.
Was Harambe the president of Zimbabwe?
No, he was the mayor of Cincinnati.
Mayor of Cincinnati.
I think.
I
could be wrong.
Are you making a racist joke?
No, I'm saying we need to check that because I'm not sure. I'm not going to say it's fact, but it could be. Now, he taught Trump that to build a wall, that's going to keep everybody in.
Are you saying that City Hall in Cincinnati looks like the zoo?
I've never been to their City Hall. I mean their zoo. So I couldn't give you a reference.
We could get in trouble.
But is it the idea like the jobs are not going to go away,
right?
And the companies are not going to outsource because Trump's going to force them to stay. That's what the wall's for.
I mean, the Constitution clearly says that a president has the power to force companies.
Article 2? Yeah, Article
something
2.
Like, no, it's actually I think it's the Second Amendment.
Section 4.
Second.
That's right.
Amendment.
Second Amendment.
Use the gun.
The president may bring up a militia of his own liking
to force companies to stay here, like the PGA.
To stay here, like the PGA,
right?
And he's just going to get even with them. It's not a big deal.
No big deal. Presidents could do that.
You know, it's funny you said the Second Amendment because the fourth thing that you got to control, Alinsky said, was gun control.
You like the segue?
I like the segue. You got to remove the ability to defend yourself from the government.
Right.
Now, people don't realize that. Like,
well, they just think it's for like hunting
or just for personal, like to prevent armed robbery.
Like silly Cajuns want to go shoot raccoons and stuff.
Right. Or to like you want to wake up and shoot some kid who's trying to steal your DVD collection.
Right. Do we have DVD collections still?
I think some people do. I don't. But do you still have a DVD player?
Yeah.
Not in your computer.
Yeah.
Separate.
I have it separate.
Say you do. Right.
You have a VHS player? Actually, my sister has a VHS player, and she's been carrying around this television. I hope she's not listening.
I just bought a record player. I'm serious.
Are you going backwards?
Listen, there is a richness to the record pop. You know, like the yeah. Right? Is that what it sounds like?
That's what it sounds like.
When you put on a record,
like somebody's eating peanut butter.
Right before it's like right. It's like something about it. It's like, man, that sounds so warm and ironically tasty. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So you have to control, but that's what guns were for. The Second Amendment is to protect against the government. This is the thing that I think is so always missed. The Second Amendment argument, either for or against guns, never gets to the actual intent of the Second Amendment.
Right.
Beyond hunting, beyond personal defense, it's to defend against tyranny.
That's correct.
And that never really comes out. But Alinsky said that if you're able to create a police state, and a lot of people say we have. Listen, I've been saying for a long time. Do you remember Mr. Schnapp at the GNOTP?
Mr. Schnapp.
The last time you and I gave a joint speech,
I
told him that police forces across America were militarizing.
Right.
He got upset with me.
He did. Because he was a police officer?
Because he was a retired NOPD and a great guy.
Right.
But he did not want to hear it. He said that cops were good. And I agree with him. In general, they're pretty good.
So there's a double-sided sword here, right? So you have the total destruction of the civil society right now that's creating a lot of violence. We're seeing it at Trump rallies right now.
Listen,
right.
Chicago, prominent black preachers in Chicago are now asking for the National Guard to be brought in.
Yeah.
Because on Memorial Day weekend, they had 69 shootings, 66 murders.
Yeah, 6 murders.
I thought it was 66 dead.
No. 6 dead and 67 shot.
Okay.
But it's interesting when they covered the story, which was like in the back page of the New York Times.
Yeah.
They basically compared it to last year's shootings. And they said it wasn't as bad as last year. So it's progress.
Oh, that's great.
Right. They only had 6 murders versus 12 murders as of last year.
So number 5 is welfare.
Right, which we talked about. Because you got to make people dependent on the government.
Right. So
they are the provider of rights.
We'll give you food.
Right.
We'll give you a place to stay.
Food is a right. Housing is a right.
We'll if you have a couple of kids and you're not married,
right,
we'll give you some income.
That's right.
When they get to a certain age, we'll educate
That's a living
them
wage,
for you.
By the way. Go ahead.
We'll educate them for you.
Right. Free education.
What else will we do for?
Are you reading the FDR second Bill of Rights?
No, I'm not actually.
I mean, I don't know where I would have gotten that from.
Is there a such thing as a FDR second Bill of Rights?
Absolutely. Take a look, bro. And you've mentioned several of the amendments.
Well, let's keep going.
Okay.
There's public transportation.
Yes.
Right, because we got to get you to and from wherever you got to go.
Absolutely.
Then there's public bathrooms.
It's got to be public bathroom.
Oh, that's right. It's got to be one bathroom.
That's right. Easy there. Easy.
Gotcha.
You got to be culturally relevant these days.
Antiquated.
No cultural appropriation.
That's right. Are we both using today? I just want to make sure we're using. We are using our correct PGPs, right?
What do you mean?
Our preferred gender pronouns.
Oh yeah, I actually just used the restroom for the ladies.
Oh, did you?
Yes, it's actually pretty nice in there.
I've heard a lot of good things about that place.
Really?
No, really, because like every time a girl that I'm with goes to the bathroom, she usually takes like 3 or 4 others with them. So I'm assuming there's something really awesome going on in there.
So you say we ought to go together?
Let me know next time.
Dude, I think this Starbucks coffee's making you a little gay.
Something is in this Starbucks.
I'm just saying.
So what about education? We said education, but that's...
Yes.
That's...
All right, so in order to be able to get people convinced to give up their health care rights or get health care rights, I should say, or be a part of the let's save all the people that are poor, or maybe we need to spend more money in government, you got to start with education, right? They should have put education first.
I agree. I think education, but I think education probably took the longest. All right, so here's what I want to do. I want to hit a question. Would you rather, 504-527-0800, would you rather be able to read or have $1 million? So in other words, would you rather be able to read and not have $1 million, or would you rather be illiterate and have $1 million? 504-527-0800, and we have 2 more left. We're going to take our bottom of the hour break, and when we come back, we will cover those last 2. Beware, you may be a useful idiot. That's not our phrase. Chris and I do not use that kind of language to our listeners. That was Vladimir Lenin. But find out if you are, and if you are, we're just making you aware so you're not.
We'll be right back after this short pause on the battlefield. Stick with us. And make sure you go to lanterns.buzz and battlefield.buzz. Follow us on Twitter at lanternsbuzz. We'll be right back after this short pause.
Are you looking for a reasonable and affordable way to enhance your image or your company's image on the internet? Are you looking for ways to leverage internet technology to streamline your business? An upgraded website or web application is the way to go. Vast Virtual Solutions is a technology company that specializes in developing websites that operate on the cutting edge with the ability to save you and your business time and money. Visit vastvirtual.com for a business quote today. vastvirtual.com.
Better the little that the righteous have than the wealth of many wicked. Hello, I'm Tony Perkins with the Family Research Council in Washington. Tax dollars aren't the only thing getting wasted under this administration. So are the birds. While America is more than $18 trillion in debt, guess who would pay to get finches drunk? Try Congress. Under a new grant from NIH, taxpayers are forking over $5 million to see if birds slur when they sing. That's just one of the 20 ridiculous studies the government is funding. How many shakes does it take for a wet dog to dry off? Or could you outrun a dinosaur? All are part of $35 million questions government grants are helping to answer. Senator Jeff Flake was amazed that America is paying to see if cocaine makes honeybees dance when it could be curing diseases. As he said, with so many mysteries to explore in the universe, perhaps the greatest is how studies like this get funded in the first place. For more, go to TonyPerkins.com.
The future of America is at stake, and frankly, many Americans are frightened at the direction we're taking.
You're listening to The Battlefield Live on WSHO 800 AM, and you're listening to Chris and Trey from the Lanterns Radio Network. I want to thank you for sticking with us. Make sure, if you haven't yet, go to battlefield.buzz. You can check out all our show times. We air 5 days a week. We have a podcast, so if you are not always on the road at 5 a.m., between 5 and 6, and happen to be tuned in to 800 AM, we'd love to have you do that. But if you cannot, for whatever reason, you can get your fill of Chris and Trey at the Battlefield Live website, which is battlefield.buzz. Check us out there. Or you can go to lanterns.buzz, and there's others like us. Yes, we're not the only goofy people on the radio. And you can check out all the other show hosts at lanterns.buzz. So, Trey, we're getting into the last few items of what Saul Alinsky prescribed in order to get rid of, for the most part, Western civilization as we know it, because the American people and Americans alike, if that's not the same thing, have been protectors of Western culture, along with other nations, say, I don't know, in Europe that's currently being invaded by immigrants, right?
Yeah.
Are you there?
I am now.
What you got going on over there, dude?
Nothing.
Boy, you look guilty. No?
I'm good.
You good?
We got two more now.
You got two more. All right. Why don't you hit this off then?
All right. So
Here's
this is the bit. This is of my 8. To me, this is the one that I think is the foundation of everything.
Okay. Number
7 is religion.
Okay.
So Saul Alinsky believed that if you remove the belief in God from government and schools, that was one of the important areas to control.
And that wasn't an original thought by Saul Alinsky. In fact,
no.
Antonio Gramsci was one that said in order to destroy the culture of America, you would have to destroy the Christian hegemony. Or hegemony. It depends on how you say it.
I was going to say, remind me of what hegemony
means. It's like a culture.
Okay.
In other words, our culture, for the most part, in America has been through a biblical worldview. We all believe in the founding of the country. The Declaration of Independence cites the Creator in the first paragraph, is that that's where our rights come from, and that the only person, for the most part, and it doesn't say this in the Declaration, but this is what it assumes, is that if your Creator provides you rights, that He's the only one that can take them away.
That's right.
Right? So in order to destroy America's culture, you would have to destroy Christianity, because that is our biblical worldview that has provided us the country that we have now.
I just had a kind of a thought as you were saying that, that if our rights do in fact come from the Creator, more so than that man cannot take them away, any attempt to do so means that the only thing that man can do to other men's rights is infringe upon them.
That's right.
So if you think about that, any attempt on the part of one human being to control or alter or abolish what is otherwise given to them by the Creator will always be an infringement upon the intention of the Creator to His creation.
That's exactly right. That's why the biblical worldview in itself stands alone, in that any deviance from that brings us what we see in Venezuela, what we saw in Germany in the early 1900s, what we saw in Russia in the early 1900s, what we saw in Italy in the early 1900s. All of those things were symptomatic of the rejection of that our rights are inalienable.
Well, this last one This is the one that I think that we probably, as people in general, succumb to the most.
Right. And this is definitely, to me, one of my probably biggest topics.
I was going to say, I'm glad that this author, Garrett Gear, put it this way, because it kind of saves, for you, the best for last.
That's right.
This is the one where it's this takes the most work, I think, to get out of the paradigm of.
Right.
And number 8 is class warfare.
That's right.
So if you can divide people, which we know the old saying is divide and conquer.
That's right.
And we know that. We know a house divided can't stand.
But right. And the way that this is used is that people that are in power or in the education system are building a case that we are all extremely different in many different ways in which we are not. In other words, just because we look different or we speak differently or whatever, that we're somehow a part of a separated class. And so much so that they'll say at the same time that we have to protect women, and then at the same time we'll say that men can be women. It's a paradox in itself. But the point is that with class warfare, its roots go back all the way to Darwin's evolution, origin of species. In other words, that if you have two classes that fight each other, or two species that fight each other, that eventually through that process, that dialectic, if you will, that eventually you'll get to the higher being.
Because the stronger will survive.
That's correct. So they think that to get a strong society, that you have to pit people against each other. In other words, blacks against whites, men against women, transgenders against both, gays against non-gays. You have to pin these people, and eventually what happens is they get together and they'll beat each other up enough that they'll progress in a way that'll make them superior.
If transgender women, which for our listening audience, if you're not keeping score at home, are people who are born men but who identify through their dress and
I thought transgender women would be men that dressed like women. See, I'm all confused now.
Correct. That's why I'm trying to clarify it. So if you're a transgender woman, you're a born male who identifies and lives as a female.
Right.
Okay.
Which is a class in itself.
Which is now becoming, if not already, a protected class in our society.
That's right. It's being erected as we speak right now.
So how long before groups like Now, or just feminists in general, especially liberal feminists, how long before they step up and start saying, hey guys, maybe
they're already doing it.
We should slow down on this whole transgender thing because it's kind of now infringing upon our opportunities.
They're already doing it. The feminists now are starting to come out because they see that their movement has gone too far. In fact, liberalism is collapsing on itself, but people look at it as a destructive thing. If you believe in Eastern philosophies, right,
yin and yang, opposites.
If you look at the destroyer Shiva, from the Hindu religion, right, that's a process. That's all dialectics.
If you wear loci bracelets,
yes, you have to build up and you have to destroy, build up and destroy, and if you keep doing that, you have this process. That's all this is. Class warfare is we don't understand it in America. We get offended by it because it's not of Western culture. Western culture is that everybody is seen as a citizen or an American or something like that. What the liberals have done, progressives, they have put hyphens in front of Americans. They put America second instead of first, which I don't want to get into that. I'm not saying that I'm into the whole America first crowd, but they put African Americans, Hispanic Americans, gay Americans, transgender Americans. Americans are always second, and it should be you're an American.
Unhyphenated American.
That's right.
All right, so Chris, have you ever looked into the startling similarities and differences between Donald Trump and Harambe the gorilla?
They don't look alike, at least.
Well, wait,
on the surface.
Wait, don't be so. See,
I'm being
that's
judgmental.
The kind of judgmentalism that the left talks about.
So you caught me there. You caught me.
Let me lay the case out for you, then you can make it.
All right. Sorry.
Capable of human reasoning. Neither
of them.
Right? Right? Neither, really. Known for flinging own feces when upset. Yeah, that's both, right? I mean, I'll say it for you.
Okay.
That's clearly both.
Okay.
I know you wanted to say it. Head covered with lustrous simian fur.
Both.
That's absolutely both, right? We've well documented that about Donald Trump.
That is correct.
Before we even knew there was Harambe.
That's right. I'm still trying to figure out if that's real up there or not.
It may be silverback at the end of the day.
That's true.
You know, there's only one way to tell. Number 4.
You were trying to kill Donald Trump. No, I was just trying to see if his hair was real.
Renowned for a cogent understanding of foreign policy. Right, that's Harambe. Exactly. See, you kind of starting to see it. Partners mated with for life. No, neither.
No,
neither one of them.
That's right.
Neither one of them. Best kept in a high-walled cage.
That would be both of them.
No, that's Donald Trump.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. Clearly, he was. Listen, all the experts agree. The consensus is Harambe never raised up on his legs and beat his chest. He was not going to do anything to that kid. He was simply taking him around, I heard, for a game of Jenga.
See, now you're using stereotypes of gorillas.
No, that's what the experts say.
Okay.
So that's when they only get nervous when they're in a pen with a thing that could, like, snatch your arm off of you.
Squish your head like a coconut.
Right. And currently is bumming America out right now.
I think they're both doing that.
Yeah, that would be both. That definitely is both. So, see, very startling similarities and differences. We do the job that the mainstream media just won't do.
That is correct. That's why you tune into the Battlefield every week. And if you're interested in finding us, you can find us at battlefield.buzz. And just do a search up top. There's actually a show archives, and you can check out all of our shows. You can also find us on lanterns.buzz, our network. And if you wish to find us on social media, you can reach out to us, and we'll actually talk back, like my mother used to tell me not to do. And you can do that at lanternsbuzz on Twitter. You can reach out to me on Twitter as well, at Paul Revere again. Follow both of us. And then, of course, you can follow Trey at T-Rob Radio.
T-Rob Radio.
T-Rob Radio. And you can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/lanternsbuzz. And make sure you go to Spreaker and subscribe to our podcast on Spreaker.
Yes.
Yes, and you can listen to us there. SoundCloud.
Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Radio, FM.listen, carrierpigeon.com. We will deliver a micro cassette tape for you to listen to.
All you got to do, folks, is do a keyword search for Lanterns Buzz, and we'll be back next Friday at 800 a.m. WSHO, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Stick with us. Later, Tater.
I think that Harambe thing will work.
I do.